Hey, this is Nicky G and welcome to Better Commander. Today we're going Eldrazi, Mutate, $70 budget with Animar, Soul of Elements. Alright, I'm going to take you back to a dark and stormy night in 2013. Picture it, a dark house with four bros sitting around a table playing Commander. One man, a veritable stranger known only to the rest of us as the Nightingale, unleashed a powerful, nasty commander and took a win while the rest of us gnashed our teeth and rended our flesh. That commander, my friends, was Animar, Soul of Elements. Well, guess what? Animar, Soul of Elements is getting a reprint and the time is now. It's a $70 budget deck. Let's go. Animar Soul of Elements is a green, a blue, and a red for a legendary creature, elemental 1/1. It's got protection from white, it's got protection from black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Animar Soul of Elements. Creature spells you cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Animar. Alright, before we get too deep into this video, let's take a second to gently smush the subscribe button, okay? Don't lean on it. The algorithm demands sacrifice, and the sacrifice of one skin cell that it takes will be rewarded when the artificial intelligence known as the algorithm takes over. Okay, Animar has protection from two of the best colors for removal in Magic the Gathering. This will earn the ire of any black or white player. It makes him hard to block, it makes him tricky to remove. The second ability is all gas. We want a healthy mix of bigger creatures that have a minimum of colored pips so we can maximize our discount. Well, guess what, brother? Eldrazi have not a lot of colored pips, dude. And guess what? Mutate creatures are being cast when you cast for their mutate cost, so the cost reduction works there as well. Plus, mutating onto Animar makes him have a bigger base power and toughness, and usually some evasion. We also want to protect our commander because there are other colors that can target and remove Animar, and he has no protection from board wipes. So we'll talk about that as well. This is a very unique deck. It can also be very nasty. Animar is powerful on his own. You don't need Titans and Blightsteel Colossus. That's for chumps. We're going to beat everyone's $1,000 decks with our $70 budget. And believe me, it feels good to look around the table and see people's board states that cost more than your entire deck and you're stomping. So Animar really likes creatures, so we're including creature-based ramp, removal, and draw. You want to secure cards like Beast Whisperer and Volo, Itinerant Scholar. It's 2022, let's get a Volo in there. It's 2 and a blue for a legendary creature, human wizard, it's a 2/3. When he enters the battlefield, create Volo's Journal, a legendary colorless artifact token with hexproof, and whenever you cast a creature spell, note one of its creature types that hasn't been noted for this artifact. Volo has 2 and tap, draw a card for each creature type noted for target permanent you control named Volo's Journal. He also has choose the background, it's irrelevant here. This guy is awesome. There are 28 or so distinct creature types in this deck, so drawing 3 to 4 for 2 colorless mana is fantastic. Sandstone Oracle is 7 generic mana. It's an artifact creature Sphinx. It's a 4/4 with flying. When Sandstone Oracle enters the battlefield, choose an opponent. If that player has more cards in hand than you, draw cards equal to the difference. Once Animar is rolling, this guy is great if you end up emptying your hand, and you can most of the time cast him for free. Drum Hunter, I saw this guy in Guitar Center, dude. He was smashing somebody's drum set just to smithereens. It's 3 and a green for a creature, human druid warrior. It's a 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 5 or greater, you may draw a card. It also has tap, add colorless mana. Hey, look at this cool guy. He's a house in this deck, and he's got a really cool hairstyle that I wish I had. Somberwald Sage, gothing it up in the forest. 2 and a green for a creature. It's a human druid, 0/1, has tap. Add 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. This lady's a magnet for removal. We have 53 creatures in this deck, so the restricted mana shouldn't be a problem. When I see this card, I think of a cartoon I used to watch as a kid. I don't remember the name of it, where a cowboy had the powers of hawk, wolf, puma, and bear. She's got the wolf and the bear, and she's got kind of a flattened hawk in the background there. Elysian Caryatid, yeah. 1 and a green for a creature. It's a plant, 1/1. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, add 2 mana of any one color instead. Okay, this guy's a plant, and it is a rare bird that it can tap for 2 mana pretty quick, and it's a plant with abdominal muscles. Alright, Mutate is one of these universally hated mechanics. I think it's great for Animar. So what Mutate cards are we going to get into? Well, we got a Luna, Apex of Wishes, 2 green, blue, and a red for a legendary creature, Beast Elemental Dinosaur. It's a 6/6 with flying and trample. It's got a Mutate cost for 3 and a hybrid red-green and 2 blue. Whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. The showcase version of this is only 65 cents, so pick one up. We can mutate this ideally onto Animar, so it gets its counters, base power 6/6, flample, and its abilities. This can be a lethal commander damage swing very quickly. What a cool card. How about Auspicious Starix? It's 4 and a green for a creature Elk Beast 6/6. It also has Mutate 5 and a green. Whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile X permanent cards, where X is the number of times this creature has mutated. Put those permanent cards onto the battlefield. Everything in our deck is a permanent, so this can be a nasty little surprise. And it's an Elk Beast. He looks like he's about to do something nefarious, I'll tell you that. Oh, here comes the Dreamtail, 4 and a blue for a creature, Elemental Bird. Mutate for 3 and a blue. It has flying. Whenever this creature mutates, draw a card. It's a 3/4. So this gives our commander base power and toughness 3/4. It replaces itself and it gives him flying. By the time you cast this for its mutate cost, it's usually down to 1 blue mana, which is a crazy value in this deck. This dude's spewing dreams up out of his tail. Gem Razor, you don't want to bring this guy to the jewelry store, I'll tell you that. So it's 3 and a green for a creature beast, 4/4. It has mutate for 1 green, reach and trample. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. It's a really sweet way to beef up Animar and take out someone's expensive enchantment, and it gives them trample. Sawtusk Demolisher, what kind of mutant is this guy? 4 green for a creature beast, it's a 6/6. It has mutate for 3 and a green mana, has trample. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy target non-creature permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green beast creature token. Here's more removal on a 6/6 mutating trampler, all that for 1 green mana when Animar gets rolling. This guy rocks. Sea Dasher Octopus is 1 blue for a creature octopus. It's a 2/2. It has mutate for 1 and a blue mana, so it has flash as well. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This is great to mutate onto an unblocked attacker or an evasive flyer. Okay, so what are some sweet Eldrazi to stick in this deck? First off, I'm going to say that I don't have any of the Titans in here. This is a budget deck. So I really love the flavor of some of the smaller Eldrazi. They don't get any love in Commander. The Titans get all the attention, but these guys have some real character. Let's talk about Barrage Tyrant, 4 and a red for a creature Eldrazi 5/3 with Devoid. It has 2 and a red. Sacrifice another colorless creature. Barrage Tyrant deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. If we get a big threat out, we can sack it in response for a good old-fashioned fling effect. I like the flavor text too. Breaker of Armies, yeah, 8 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi. It's a 10/8. All creatures able to block Breaker of Armies do so. This guy is just kind of a sacrificial lamb that plays nicely with Annihilator and other evasive creatures. We usually want Animar to get through, and this guy basically makes him unblockable, and he's going to go down swinging. It reminds me of my Uncle Syl for some reason. Conduit of Ruin is 6 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi. It's a 5/5. When you cast this spell, you may search your library for a colorless creature card with mana value 7 or greater. Reveal it, shuffle, put that card on top. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. So this is cost reduction and the ability to reach into our toolbox and get whatever we need. It's pretty nice. Deep Fathom Skulker. I'm going to put one of these in my neighbor's swimming pool. It's 5 and a blue for a creature Eldrazi 4/4. It has Devoid. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. That's pretty good right there. It has 3 and a colorless. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. So that's a Rogue's Passage effect for our commander as well. So this guy's skulking around. He's looking into portholes. We need a bit of colorless mana production, but this can get us a Voltron win. Helps refill our hand for the low price of 25 cents. Elder Deep Fiend is 8 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi Octopus. It's a 5/6 with flash, and it has an emerge cost, but I'm not too worried about that. So when you cast this spell, tap up to 4 target permanents. So tapping our foe's blockers for the win. I kind of like this guy. Herald of Kozilek, 1 red and a blue for a creature Eldrazi Drone. It's a 2/4. It has Devoid as well. Colorless spells you cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast. This guy just tramps through the town square, heralding whatever and making our Eldrazi cheaper. Old glow chest, we call him. Kozilek's Channeler is 5 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi. It's a 4/4. It has tap, add colorless. This guy's just a sweet mana dork with his creepy little tiny hands. Lashweed Lurker, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. 8 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi Horror. It's a 5/4 with Emerge. When you cast a spell, you may put target non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. So this is kind of removal on a stick, and you can hit any non-land permanent. Mockery of Nature. So this thing started life as a pit bull, little known fact. So it's a 9 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi Beast. It's a 6/5. Has an emerge cost, but we're not going to be doing that too much. When you cast this spell, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. So this is more removal, more stick. Ulamog's Crusher, 8 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi. It's an 8/8 with Annihilator 2. Ulamog's Crusher attacks each combat if able. I like the old school version of this guy, not the one from Double Masters. I like the old Egghead Eldrazi. Void Grafter is 1 green and a blue for a creature Eldrazi Drone. It's a 2/4. It also has the Void and Flash. When Void Grafter enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gains hexproof until the end of turn. This is actually a pretty good protection piece because people are going to be aiming their Beasts Within over at our commander. Worldbreaker. Listen, none of these cards are fantastic, but look at the cool art on this thing. Don't you want to beat somebody up with this in Commander? It's a creature, Eldrazi, 5/7 for 6 and a green, has Devoid. When you cast this spell, exile target artifact, enchantment, or land. It also has reach. It has this ability, 2 and a colorless, sacrifice a land, return it from your graveyard to your hand. The real deal here is the exile in the first ability, and if Animar is just pumped up to all heck, you're paying 1 green mana to just exile something. Decimator of the Provinces, or as I call him, Harvey Weinstein, am I right? So 10 generic mana for a creature Eldrazi Boar, 7/7. Has a big emerge cost. When you cast this spell, creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until the end of turn. This guy's got trample and haste. Anyone else order a Craterhoof Behemoth? I did, but I only paid 35 cents for it, and this is the crappy version. This one is $59 cheaper than the Craterhoof Behemoth, and he can be a real finisher in this deck with his pig heads. Alright, we are going to want to protect our commander. I went with some phasing as we want to keep his counters. Phasing is essentially a counterspell for any ability that targets our commander. Or a board wipe. I mean, we can essentially just put him into the phase zone while the rest of everything gets destroyed and come back out and swing in for a Voltron win. So we have this Vodalian Illusionist, 2 and a blue for a creature, Merfolk Wizard. He's a 2/2. He's got 2 blue mana, tap, target creature phases out. Simple ability on a creature, really great for this deck. You know, listen, you can include a couple instants, you don't have to go all creatures. I put in cards like Slip Out the Back, March of Swirling Mist, and Reality Ripple to round out our protection suite. Animar is a very generically powerful commander. You're going to find yourself playing this deck. Animar is going to snowball out of control until he has 8-10 counters on him. You're going to be casting Eldrazi for free. You're going to be drawing cards off of cards like Beast Whisperer and Primordial Sage, and you're going to be putting more Eldrazi onto the battlefield, and he's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until you have a way to give him trample or evasion, and then hopefully you just win the game. Animar gets so big, so quick, and you get to use some really junky Eldrazi and Mutate cards to be a real MTG hipster with this deck. Alright? So give it a try. Try it out. Thanks for watching. It's going to be easy to upgrade this. This is a blast to pilot. And I'm going to talk to you guys later. This is Nicky G from Better Commander, signing off.